Ah, shit. Let me clean that out first. There we go, that looks better. Yo guys, Thirsty Gogeta back at it again. And today, we're gonna frickin' listen to this frickin' idiot. Um, oh my god, this... Okay, I only got through half of the video, so... Let's just go over the part that I've already seen, and we'll get to the parts that I haven't seen. But I left one hefty frickin' comment in this guy's frickin' video.
From the plot of Transformers Rise of the Beasts being all over the place, to the editing teams struggling to come up with a decent cut of the movie, these are all the reasons why Transformers Rise of the Beasts sounds like it's terrible. For starters, the plot of the film sounds like it's all over the place. So, in this movie, after the Autobots arrived on Earth following the events of Bumblebee in 1987, the ongoing conflict with the Decepticons continued, mostly in secret. But things soon took a dramatic turn when an artifact researcher named Dominique Fishback and an electronics expert from Brooklyn called Anthony Ramis stumbled upon something that thrust them into the never-ending war of the Transformers. Paramount hasn't revealed many specific details about the plot, aside from what we've seen in the trailers. But it seems like the Maximals, Predacons, and Terracons have been chilling on Earth for quite a while. And now, the next phase of the Autobot-Decepticon war is bringing them back into action. Confused yet? Well, it turns out that's just the start. The Planet Eater, Unicron, is also making a grand entrance. You see, Unicron didn't get much of a chance to shine in Michael Bay's Transformer series, if I'm being honest. Even though he was set up in The Last Knight back in 2017. But now, Paramount and Hasbro want to hit the ground running and attract as many fans as possible. So they're unleashing Unicron right from the start, instead of teasing his arrival slowly like before. But with so much going on, it's no surprise that fans feel like the film is terrible. But that's not the only reason why. The other reason is that the film doesn't exactly have the most famous celebrities as its cast. You've got Anthony Ramis as Noah Diaz, a tech expert with a military background.
You don't need famous-ass celebrities for this movie. Oh my god, what do you mean that Anthony Ramos isn't famous? What the fuck do you mean by that? Oh, this man doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Oh, and it's pissing me off.
And Dominique Fishback as Elena Wallace, an expert in artifacts. Oh, and Noah's mom, played by Lauren Velez, is also in the mix. Plus, there's Toby Wigwe as Reek, their companion on their global adventure. Clearly, no really big celebrities will be in the limelight, which means the film may lack the star power needed to do well. That said, where the cast does shine is with the voices behind the Autobot heroes. Leading the pack is the legendary Peter Cullen, who brings his iconic voice to Optimus Prime. And guess who's lending his voice to Mirage? It's none other than Pete Davidson. Bumblebee, on the other hand, remains voiceless. Plus, there's gonna be a ton of other voice actors in there too, like John DiMaggio as Stratosphere. Now, let's meet the Maximals. There's Ron Perlman as Optimus Primal, Michelle Yeoh as Airazor, David Sobolov as Rhinox, and Tungai Chirisa as Cheetor. They're ready to kick some Decepticon tail. Speaking of the baddies, Scourge, the leader of the Terracons, is voiced by the talented Peter Dinklage. So, as far as the voices are concerned, the film does seem to be bringing in some big celebs. But I can't help but feel that the human characters don't have any big names attached, which could be a major problem. But there's another kind of big problem with the movie, and that's just how it fits into the Transformers film continuity. You see, the movie takes us back to the 90s. It's actually a sequel to the last film of the franchise, Transformers Bumblebee, which came out in 2018. Now, Bumblebee was kind of a fresh start for the Transformers series, especially after Michael Bay's fifth film, Transformers The Last Knight, hit the screens in 2017. Here's the deal. Bumblebee acted as a prequel to Bay's movies, but it also made some...
No, it literally was not. It was not a prequel. Travis Knight has already gone on to say that it was a reboot. If this man's source is that producer who cannot shut the hell up, then that's not a very valuable, reliable source, because that producer, I don't remember his name, but that producer always contradicts himself constantly. One day he'll say it's a reboot, one day he'll say it's a prequel. And his word should be taken with an extreme amount of salt because he constantly contradicts himself. And the way I see it is you need to listen to Stephen Caple Jr. because just recently to Alfonso Nation, I'll leave leave his channel in the description below. He recently had an interview with Stephen Caple Jr. and Stephen literally went on to say, this is a part of the new rebooted universe. It's a reboot. It's a reboot. So listen to what the director says and not that producer, because he did the same thing for Bumblebee. He was constantly contradicting himself. Like nobody was telling him anything. He was saying, oh, it's a reboot. Oh, it's a prequel. Oh, it's a reboot. Oh, it's a prequel. That guy needs to shut up.
Changes to the Transformers backstory. For instance, it tweaked when Optimus Prime first arrived on Earth, shifting it from the 80s to the 2000s. It's like they wanted to keep things interesting by mixing it up a bit. Though Bumblebee still incorporated some cool stuff from Bay's movies, like the idea that Bumblebee had been fighting the good fight on Earth for decades as an Autobot agent. But the fact that fans will need to be aware of the literal decades worth of Transformers films to be able to enjoy this film properly still kind of...
No. Caple also said that you don't need to watch the other movies to understand what's going on with this one. He literally said the only one you gotta watch is Bumblebee. That's it. The Bayverse movies are not connected with this new movie. Good lord, where is this guy's sources coming from? Oh man, this man is absolutely terrible.
Seems like it's gonna be bothersome, especially since this movie is meant to work as a kind of soft reboot. In fact, it's still not clear if the movie will be connected to the Michael Bay films. But just the possibility that it is kinda makes it feel like the film is heading towards a major problem. Rise of the Beasts is definitely set in the same universe as Bumblebee, just further down the timeline. But Bumblebee had some clear nods to Michael Bay's Transformers movies in terms of story and design. So it's kind of up for debate whether all the films truly belong to a single continuity.
No.
These soft reboot approaches give franchises the freedom to pick and choose what they want to keep or discard. But the general lack of clarity and the fact that fans may still need to watch the old stuff to keep up may be more of a hassle than most are willing to deal with. Plus, that's not even the end of the problems this movie has. Because Rise of the Beasts has too many robots in disguise. It seems like this movie is going beyond the scope of the previous films. But unfortunately, not in a good way. I'm not just dealing with Optimus Prime and his Autobots anymore. Nope. Now we have the Terracons, Maximals, and Predacons from Beast Wars thrown into the mix. And here's the thing. The franchise hasn't exactly handled the Autobots and Decepticons well, so you can only imagine how they'll handle these new factions. Here's the tricky part. Rise of the Beasts will have to introduce the whole concept of Maximals and Predacons, who are usually portrayed as descendants of the Autobots and Decepticons. On top of that, you have the random presence of the Terracons. It's like they're throwing a bunch of characters into one story, even if it doesn't make much sense. But that is just the tip of the iceberg. They're also bringing in new human characters with their own separate stories. How are fans supposed to keep track of all these stories? The more complicated the movie gets, the more chances there are that it'll flop. Like, who goes to watch a Transformer film only to be given homework and a robotic history lesson? Honestly, I'm a bit worried about how all of this will play out. It feels like they're cramming too much into one movie without giving proper attention to each element. And just when you thought you've heard it all, a new report claimed that Transformers Rise of the Beasts is an unwatchable mess. Things are getting a bit chaotic in the Transformers world. You see, in a recent episode of the Hot Mic podcast, hosts Jeff Snyder and John Rocha dropped a bombshell. Apparently, it's facing some major challenges during post-production. It's like a battle to put these pieces together and create a coherent cut from all the mechanical wreckage. According to Snyder, this film has gone through not one, not two, but almost a dozen different editing teams. Each team has tried to salvage the mess and come up with their own version of the movie, which may lead to be really disastrous. And guess what? Rocha chimed in with his own insider info. He heard whispers from his sources too, confirming the messy situation. A friend with connections spilled the beans and said that the movie is a complete disaster, and they're desperately trying to fix it. Now, I don't know about you, but this revelation has got me scratching my head along with all the other Transformer fans out there. And now everyone wants to see the disaster for themselves. So, just when is this film releasing? Despite all the struggles and turmoil, Transformers is still set to hit theaters in the US on June 9th, 2023. But hey, keep in mind that this date might change if the post-production process continues to be a tangled mess of edits, revisions, and last-minute changes. Fingers crossed they can untangle this web and get things sorted. Though that's not a new concept for this franchise. It's no stranger to controversy and mixed reviews. Critics have slammed past movies for their over-the-top action and thin plots. But despite all of that, the movies have made billions of dollars at the box office. It just goes to show that people still love the ongoing battle between the Autobots and Decepticons. With this latest installment reportedly in disarray, fans can only hope that the big shots behind the scenes can work their magic and turn this jumbled mess into an entertaining film. In the meantime, all we can do is speculate about what the final product will look like. But from the editing team struggling to come up with a decent cut of the movie before the release date.
Shut the hell up. Okay, so I know that the team itself has been having some hardships. That's understandable. Most movies do. But, like, why? Oh my god, this guy. The Predacons and Decepticons don't have a major role in this movie. That's something that's already been said. Now, the Terracons, they will be flushed, like they're gonna be explained, and probably explained well. And those guys, I don't even know who those guys are, but that we're saying that it's a jumbled mess, but it's funny how early screenings of the movie came out about last week, and a lot of people, and even casual moviegoers, went into the movie saying it was easier to follow than the Bayformers. That goes to show that it probably ended out a whole lot better than these people are making it out to be. I think these people are just trying to shoot down the movie just because it's not Bayverse. I've been dealing with quite a bit of people like that lately, because they just like, oh, Optimus doesn't have flames, yada yada yada, and it's just like, the Bayverse had its shot. Like, I said that in a previous video. The Bayverse had its shot, and you gotta stop beating a dead horse. So, and another thing is that there's not that many Transformers. I mean, you really say that there is, but there really isn't. There's only I think RC and Wheeljack, like, yes, they're gonna have like some three-dimensionalness, but they won't be stealing the screen. Like, Bumblebee isn't gonna be like the screen stealer this time. It's gonna be Optimus and Optimus Primal being basically the main Transformers this time around. And this is basically Optimus's story, and Noah's and Mirage's adventure. So you have two basic plot points right there that are kind of coinciding with one another. And it's not the first time where a whole bunch of characters in a movie will affect the movie. Because if if I'm pretty sure they already did, but if they execute it well, it can end up something like Infinity War, Endgame. I know those are Marvel movies, but they had a shit ton of characters in them and they worked well. You can't tell me they didn't work well because look at the money and look at the critical and fan reviews. Those movies did absolutely amazing, and I'm not even a big Marvel fan. So, saying that this movie's going to be a jumbled mess is just. This guy is just completely unethical. I must say that. And his overall view of things, I mean, his sources are rather ambiguous to say the least. And it's just. Oh my god, I am at lost of words to this video because it's just like why the Transformers series needs to die. Bro, if you're not a Transformers fan, then don't watch the fucking movie. So, yeah, there that is. But we're almost close to the movie's release date. We're getting there. We're so close, and I cannot wait. Gonna see it once with my little brother, see it another time with my bros, and who knows, I'm probably gonna see it like 3 or 4 more times after that. Because I have high hopes for this movie. Because it seems like Stephen Caple Jr. really cares about this movie. He really cares about it. So, yeah. So I hope you guys like this video, and I will leave a link in the description below to Alfonso Nation. Good God. And because he recently had an interview with with the director of the Rise of the Beast, Stephen Caple Jr. And this has been Thirsty Gogeta, signing out. Peace.